Hey everybody, so we're going to do part 2 of our paper sculpture today based on the artwork of Louise Nevelson. So if you don't have this kind of stuff hanging around yet, you need to go back and check out part 1 and get caught up, and then you can work on part 2. So last time we were here, we started working on the paper sculpture, and we talked about these techniques: cutting, tearing, cylinders, spirals, all of those things. So that's in part 1, where we went over those techniques and you made some of those things. Okay. Part 2 is going to focus mostly on the requirements of the actual challenge. Try to use every bit of the big paper. Okay. In class, I would give a 12 by 18 piece of paper and challenge everybody to use every single bit. Even the little tiny pieces that you think are scraps or unusable, you want to glue those in. So challenge yourself to do that at home. Think outside the box, but stay inside the box. Okay, that's the one we're going to have to explain a little bit more. Use every technique at least once. That's not too complicated. And then it must survive the vigorous shake test, which means for school, we would shake it and make sure all the stuff's not falling out of it, everything's glued in okay, because we're going to put those up in the hallway. But for now, you just need to put it together well enough that you can take a picture of it later, and we'll talk about that here towards the end. So now, think outside the box, but stay inside the box. What does that mean? Okay, that's the real trick here. Okay, so your box, okay, has these edges. So you can think outside the box. You can build up from the center of the box, okay, to the outside space here. So I have this really long piece. I can place this into the box so that it is going outside of the box, but I need to stay inside the edges of the box. So if I imagine that the space of the box continues up here, I don't want things going outside of the box. So I can be outside the box but inside the box at the same time. Okay, so what that means is that I could put these things in here, but if I put this piece over here and this part overhangs this edge, this border of the box, then that's not acceptable. Okay, the reason it's not acceptable for this project is that what we normally do is we place these boxes all next to each other, and if your sculpture is overhanging the person's sculpture next to you, then you block part of it. So you want to contain everything inside your box. So you can think outside the box and work outside the box, okay, as far as going up, okay, or if you want to think about it as out, because these are really designed to be wall sculptures, so this is actually coming out from the front of the box. That's the way to think about that. Okay, so I made this piece here. It's pretty huge, okay, and that's all right. Okay, so some people take it upon themselves to make part of the challenge be, how tall can I build something so that it still holds itself together, okay, and does not fall outside the borders of the box. Okay, so a lot of times people will build something, but if it doesn't have enough structure to it, then it'll actually fall down, okay, when they turn it sideways. So we'll let that dry there and see if that works out. And I've got these other things in place, so we'll add a few other things. There's a couple things I wanted to show you, because the other thing that I try to tell people is we're not going to use tape or staples or anything like that. We're just going to use glue for this project. So one thing you can do, especially with your fan folds, if you want to hold them together, normally you might staple them, okay, or put some tape or something on them, but you can put some glue on a piece of paper and just wrap that paper around the edge of one side, okay, and if you have glue all the way around that piece of paper, then it'll hold that fan fold together, and then you have a place where you can open that up and attach that somehow. We could attach that onto the front or the side, okay? So there's some cool things I did with this one here where I cut through and I opened up spaces inside so that you can sort of see inside of it. When I was thinking about attaching this spiral, I really kind of wanted it to be on the edge here. So I took a piece of paper and I folded it and cut it so that I had a tab on there, and that allows me to attach it to the front of the box, okay, and then keep it being on the foreground, so to speak, and then you can still see into the background where other stuff might be, or other shadows or things might be added, okay? So that's really all there is to it. It's not that complicated. I just want you to kind of play around with paper sculpture and see what kinds of things you can create out of the paper, okay, so that you can build this paper sculpture, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on finishing everything up, and then maybe we'll see if this will survive the vigorous shake test. Oh yeah, and one other thing. Now my students know this because they've done this before, but we always use our old color pencils as glue sticks, and we put a little bit of glue in a container, and then we can dip the glue onto the end of the glue stick, and then that lets us pick up tiny pieces or put little dots of glue on that normally would kind of be hard to deal with. So a tiny piece of paper like that, you could just pick up on the end of the glue stick, and then you can glue that down, okay, and you have a tiny piece of paper, okay, and a way to pick up tiny pieces of paper. It also works just for gluing anything down, really. You can add a little bit of glue to it, and saves us a lot of time trying to deal with glue bottles that clog and trying to get those unclogged. So let's see what we got here. So far I've got all these things kind of floating into space, and because my light's coming from straight down, you're not seeing the shadows as well as you might if it was turned sideways or whatever, but that's part of the idea here. So I'm going to glue a couple more things on and we'll try out the shake test. Okay, well I think I'm done. So now you have no way of knowing how long I've been working on this or how long I let it dry, right? Because I just clicked pause and I worked on it, okay? And so it could have been sitting all night long for all you know, but it's only been sitting for a few minutes. So we're just gonna see how our vigorous shake test goes, okay? What that means is I'm gonna turn it upside down, right? And I'm gonna shake it to see if stuff falls out, okay? All right. So far, nothing fell out. So as far as I can tell, it survives the vigorous shake test. So really, all we have to do now is glue it, or just put them together with all the other ones and make our sculpture wall, okay? But since we're all not together, we can't do that. We need to take a picture of it. Because this one is so tall, taking a picture of this piece that's really tall like this might be kind of complicated, and it might look kind of strange. So it may not work very well for the actual picture taking part of the project. So as sad as it makes me to do this, okay, I may want to adjust this piece a little bit so that instead of being so tall, it actually folds down into the space a little bit more and then becomes a different part of the sculpture, right? So we'll put it into there, okay? And now I don't know if it will survive the vigorous shake test because I didn't really glue it in. So if I shake it, it looks like it's gonna hold itself in there, okay? So it'll probably be okay. And again, it's not that big a deal this time because the whole point of this is now to get a better photograph of the shape, okay? So if you can set it up, okay, vertically and take the picture, okay, facing actual vertically, then you'll get better shadows for your photo, okay? If you just want to put it on the table and shoot straight down on it, you can do that. I don't know, I've never done it this way before, trying to put these together into like a virtual collage. So we'll kind of see what happens. So if you do this project and you have a cool Nevelson paper sculpture challenge, take a picture of it and send it to popart@popolatha.org, and then we'll see if we can put those together into a digital sculpture wall. All right, cool. So all right, well, keep working on it if you're not done yet. If you are done, hope you had fun with it. We'll see you guys later next time. All right, bye bye.